Is that good in your ears? Too loud? Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Raider Review, episode number 1 of the season. Year number, I can't even remember. We've been doing this show now for quite a while, and I tell you what, it is so much fun to be in our brand new location, folks. Our first ever attempt at doing the Raider Review off location, off of the hill at WVRC Studios. We are at our new location, which is located at Route 33 Steakhouse, number 1. Before we even get things started, folks, I want to thank our good friend Jorge over there and his staff for letting us come take over every single Wednesday of the football season so we can get ourselves fed nicely, number 1, and then we can have ourselves a chance to chat about Roane County sports. And I tell you what, it's going to be a good time here. We have a very simple location set up right now, John. Eventually, what we're going to try to do is the background is going to have some Roane County gear on it. We don't have any right now because it's episode number 1, and we've been crazy, crazy, crazy for the last month. I don't know if people have heard or seen, but we are now officially doing Calhoun County sports again, and that requires a whole lot of work.
Yeah, it was a process. We started, well, we kind of talked about it doing it last year, and we were able to get some sponsorships. We talked about it about, what, a month and a half ago?
Yes.
And
maybe I should have started this a little earlier in the season,
right.
folks.
Well, you had to have that little bit of a break from, you do football, you go right into basketball, wrestling, you're doing volleyball. What else? I mean,
Baseball, softball.
baseball,
Yeah.
softball, wrestling, basketball, golf, maybe one of these days. I talked to Bubba. He said, you better do it.
Yeah. Well, the setup, let's just say, is no different than if we were in studio. We still have a camera on us. We still are live on 104.7 FM. I will try to remember to look at the camera some, but I probably will forget that because I'll be talking with all the people that are our guests here. And again, we're excited about the new sports season for Roane County, and it just it coincides with fall football season, but we're talking all things Roane County Sports as we have before. Number one, folks, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, thank you again. We have a very good crowd there. You can still continue to ask questions if you'd like on the chat. Go ahead and send us a message. Let us know where you're watching from. Before we even went live with audio, John Penna, I'm going to call him maybe a bit of a super fan, and he is a well-traveled human being. Our buddy Robert Blair is tuning in from, let me not mess this up, Ashtabula, Ohio.
I believe it's pronounced Ashtabula.
Is
But
it
anyways,
Ashtabula? You're an
I
Ohio
don't know.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I've heard that a time or two. But yeah, he's all over the place. I mean, last year, well, I mean, every year he chimes in on Friday nights and lets us know where he's at watching the Raiders play.
Well, if you're out there listening in on the radio, you do not see our guest with us here today. Now, we wanted, of course, to have Coach Paul Burdett with us for the first initial season show. But what happened is we're in the midst of, number one, a drought. Number two, it is brutally hot this week. And for the week leading up to the first game of the season, that is never good for football. Obviously, lots of gear. It's going to be very, very hot throughout the week. And so a lot of teams, by the way, not just Roane County, but a lot of teams around the state have decided, number one, to modify their practices throughout this week. Coach Burdett and the staff at Roane County High School, no different. They decided that today and tomorrow at least, they are going to start practice 7:30, so they're going to get on the field late. Obviously, they have important work to do, John. We'd love to have him here, but we're very happy to have Athletic Director Toby Ford with us once again. And I tell you what, you've become a fixture, Toby. It's good to have you here in our new location. I tell you what, it doesn't affect you, I promise, nearly as much as it would affect Coach Burdett to be here in a new location, because we know that goes against everything he knows in his OCD stubborn nature.
That's true. First of all, thank you for letting me the number one backup. That's wonderful. Also, it is, good luck getting him here next week, too. He'll find another excuse. He might just switch practice on Wednesday nights not to be here. He doesn't like going switching his schedule.
Late Wednesday night practice.
Is there a way, as the athletic director, that you could not allow that to happen?
Oh, there's a way. There's a way. Yes.
Kind of funnel Coach Paul Burdett into being here for the show. I tell you what, it's going to be a fun time. And I tell you what, this came from John Penna, by the way. This idea had nothing to do with any of us other than John. He said, hey, let's just do the live remotes every Wednesday night from Route 33 Steakhouse. I said, well, let me ask Jorge first. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. And so this is going to be our home, away from home for the season. Looking forward to it. Folks, it is week number one, and we've got a whole lot of stuff going on. Again, before we go any further, I want to thank DW Excavating. This is every single year now. They jump in, and they jump in early. I hear from Doug months before the season even starts. Hey, we're in, again, to be the exclusive sponsor for the Raider Review. So thank you again to Doug Walker and his crew at DW Excavating for allowing us to be on the air and to be now on streaming sites. By the way, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on something called Twitch.
No clue what that is. You told me that a little bit ago, and I don't know. Something new that Swolby's probably done, right?
Well, actually, it was Joe McDonald.
Or I could have guessed.
Of A&M Digital Technologies, who said, I'm going to make a Twitch for you guys.
What is it? I mean,
yeah,
it's just another
Toby
platform.
Ford, for those who are watching.
You know what it is? You just twitched.
Toby is twitching. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. William Starcher, Ick, thank you for tuning in. He said, the Monday Night Misfits miss me.
Oh.
Sorry, bud. I've been busy getting prepped for Roane County and Calhoun County sports. One thing I do want to do is dispel a rumor out there that I've heard from some high school athletes at Roane County High School. When we put out that big, important announcement that Calhoun County Sports is back, that WVRC is now going to cover Calhoun County sports, I think the lines of communication were lost with the high schoolers. I've had 5 or 6 of them say that they thought we were leaving Roane County and going to broadcast Calhoun County sports. That is not the case.
You're welcome.
It was Toby starting the rumor.
Of course. Of course. We are staying with Roane County. We have an entire separate crew that is going to be doing Calhoun County sports. Tim Davis, a credible athlete of his own right and a legend over in Calhoun County, has taking the reins. He's going to be the play-by-play announcer for Calhoun County Sports, and he'll have a rotating group as his crew as they go through. Looking forward to that, though. But, Toby, let's get right into it, buddy. It is the fall sports season. Lots of sports going on for Roane County. Let's talk about all the sports that are happening right now and where we stand early on with this stuff.
First of all, everybody starts. Even volleyball started the same week. It could usually they were a week later, but the SSAC changed that. So everybody started August the 5th or 6th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
August the 5th this year. And then, of course, right away you jump right into golf. They get one practice, then they're off and running and competing the very next day. So they've been out and about. I think they've probably finished most of the time. Bubba sends me results, and I see them. They're in the middle of the pack of their tournaments that they're in, and maybe sometimes just a little smidge higher. But again, we see that every year with them, it seems like, and then they peak at the right time and get to the state tournament. So
yeah, that happened last year with that group who started off, I wouldn't even say in the middle of the pack. When they first started, they had some really rough goes for their first couple of tournaments, but you could see it start to get better and better as the season progressed. They got started off, by the way, I'm going to cut you off there, Toby. They got started really well early in the season, but most recently their last tournament was the St. Mary's Invitational, St. Mary's High School, and Darren Raines coming through big time. A 75 is what he shot. Now, I'm not going to throw shade on Darren. He's one of our Monday Night Misfits sometimes. But Darren shot a 75. Par at that course is 65, so it's a little lower. But he shot mid-70s, and I'll take that every day, all day. And so he led Roane County with a chance to finish 5th in that St. Mary's Invite. And we're talking about basically a prequel to the LKC tournament. St. Mary's, Williamstown, all those really good LKC teams were there for that.
Awesome. So, and they're very senior heavy this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So everybody's got experience, and they've been in the state tournament, so they know what it takes. And so we're looking for a big thing for them again.
And Nick Taylor, who was pulling double duty, by the way, this fall, shot an 84 in that tournament, an 86 for Lucas Hall, and then an 88 for Jaden Webb, and Carter Kinder with a 94. So some pretty decent scores to begin for that very veteran group of Coach Bubba Kendall.
Carter's a junior, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Carter's just a junior. The rest of those guys
are all seniors, and Eric Starcher, the lone freshman.
Yeah.
And you said double duty. Nick, he does cross country also.
Yeah.
Which is big news for us this year. We finally have enough boys and enough girls to qualify as a team to enter as a team instead of individuals.
Yeah.
So that's big news for us.
Yeah. So you're looking down the list of those guys. I'm following a little bit more this year because I have one at my house that's running. But on the girls' side, Lily Sotomayor, she's a senior. Addie Taylor, Olivia Lincolnauger, Josie Cox, those are all sophomores. And Leanne Orbister,
yeah.
She is a senior. So that's 5 on the girls' side. On the guys' side, you have Noah Bragg, my man, Yimmy, or Jimmy Lance, Nick Taylor, Chase Pope. Those guys are all seniors. Then Noah Penna and Mac Webb came out this past Monday. So Mac's another one of those wrestlers. You've got 3 wrestlers in that group, so they're going to come out. And Jimmy Lance is playing soccer as well.
Yes.
So you got Nick doing 2 sports, Jimmy playing 2 sports. So once wrestling season rolls around, those guys should be in primo shape.
Let me take you a step further on that, by the way, when we're talking about 2-sport athletes.
Yeah.
There's a young lady that I happened to see a couple days ago at lunch. I don't know how she got out of school. I won't ask that and try to not divulge information.
Skipping.
Maybe skipping school at lunchtime. I don't know what it was. But Josie Cox is running cross country. She is playing soccer.
Yes.
She is also in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing I'm missing.
She did volleyball in middle school.
She was doing volleyball.
I talked to Rodney, and he kind of gave me the rundown that she's got so many things going on, but she is a supremely good athlete. Loved watching her run last season during track season, man. She's just very impressive.
I did ask her during that. She was talking about her calendar. She has a big calendar on the wall.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm writing this down. And then right after that, we have track practice. And after this, we have this. I said, do you have any scheduled time in there for rest, sleeping? She's like, I get some pretty good sleep. I'm like, well, you probably don't study then. She's like, no, I'm a 4.0
Oh yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
what?
She probably just goes home and just falls over in her chair.
Yeah.
I could only imagine that kind of stuff happening.
That's the other thing we just talked about, multi-sport athletes, and you got Jimmy there and Josie, who also plays soccer, which is another sport started up in the fall here.
Yeah.
So they got kind of off to a slow start. New coach this year, Trevor Ward. He's trying to get things rolling and get people involved, and they took a minute to get a full team.
Yeah.
So they're a little behind in practice. We had to move some of their first games, but they open up tomorrow
Okay.
in Webster County. I believe that's where they are. But
I believe Trevor's going to do a good job. He's been around the patch program for years, and I think he's gonna really build the program. You know, being around those younger kids, they're going to know him. They're going to be comfortable, and when they get to the high school, I think he's going to do a good job of recruiting him to play.
yeah, so he's excited to start. Was a little frustrated at first, but I told him, hang in there. It's going to be okay, and he's working at it. So we'll see how they do tomorrow.
Let me just tell you about this. Quite the pickleballer he is.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
I saw his on Facebook for winning something there.
I watched
in the
9 hours
pickleball
of it
tournament.
Saturday.
Yes. Yeah, that's
I
excellent.
couldn't keep my eyes off the television.
Within the first 15 minutes of our first ever show this year, John has already lied. I know he did not watch 9
Hey,
hours.
no, listen. I sent a picture. I had it on at the shop on Saturday. It was Saturday, right?
Yes,
yeah. I had it
he
on the
didn't
shop.
even know what
almost-
day
no,
it
no.
was.
I put it on. It was on the TV at the shop. Everybody was like, "What is going on?" here?" They're like, "Is this for real? Is this live?" I was like, "Yeah, drive by the park. Drew's down there."
There it is.
Yeah. So 9 hours of pickleball. It was my first foray into it. I have heard of pickleball, obviously. I knew nothing about the sport until I agreed to do a broadcast of pickleball. So I looked up some YouTube videos, figured out how it's scored, figured out the 3 or 4 rules they have, had a blast, an absolute blast. And I hope it didn't sound terrible during the actual play-by-play of the championship matches, but I knew that Trevor was involved in that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to see all those people having a good time out there. There was only one violent outbreak, and I'm pretty sure Angie Simons is over it now. I think she's good to go. We want to say thanks to everybody tuning in and watching us. Give some shout-outs. Obviously, Robin Burgess tuning in says hello. And, of course, Joe Boots Blosser. He said, you got to have the Route 33 Steakhouse burger. Well, Toby would show it, but he ate it. Sorry, Joe.
The Raider burger.
Yes. Joe McDonald, loving the look. Thank you very much, Joe. You're part of the reason we're able to do stuff like this. And then your in-laws, John
Yep.
Bennett, checking in on you.
Yeah,
Of course,
my father-in-law.
Alan.
He's working in Morgantown.
Yeah. Just left Route 33, sitting outside Walmart, enjoying the show. Thank you, Stephanie Poole. I appreciate that. By the way, I need Juliana to get a hold of me for advertising purposes. Tell her to get a hold of me for advertising purposes. Quickly before, listen,
Before
it's
we-
been a crazy couple of weeks.
Friday, we're going to be doing all the advertising. So
Don't remind me,
Yeah.
by the way. It's going wild. So we've gotten off topic. We talked about what sports already.
we've talked about golf. We've talked about cross country, soccer, and now we're moving on to volleyball.
I believe they call it
Yeah.
soccer.
There's another transition there with the new coach.
That's true.
Well done.
A lot of new coaches this year
Yes.
in all sports.
You know, it's assistant coaches, head coaches,
Yes.
all around. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of tuning in from the station, former cross country and track athlete Marissa Roberts, now a WVRC faithful employee, is watching us from the station. I do appreciate you keeping us on the air too, Marissa, as well. Lady Raider volleyball. I tell you what, this is one of those seasons, Toby, that we're just waiting. We're waiting to see what happens. A brand new head coach, Shandy White, who is the head coach, getting ready for her second season at the helm of the Lady Raider basketball program. Obviously, they had a really good first year for her, and now she is taking over a program in the volleyball group that has a few leftovers from last year's team, and then they have a group of freshmen that I was introduced to last Thursday, and all I say is wow.
Yeah, they you look at the roster and you see one senior, one junior, I think 5 sophomores maybe, and then 13 or 14 freshmen.
Yeah.
So, and then like you said, they started off last Thursday with their first match home against St. Mary's, and they battled to the bitter end. Didn't happen to win it. They lost 15-13 in the last playoff match there. So,
Dude, it was again. You just didn't know what to expect. You just weren't sure what to expect from this team who is now grouped together and has not played together. Let's just say that they have not played together. There are 5 freshman girls on that varsity roster, 4 of which played significant time in the 5 sets, 2 of which started, or 3 depending on the set. So it's a new group of youngsters working with one senior in Paige Blosser. We know what she can do. We know what she's capable of, and she did that, by the way. But then you've got Lexi Mitchell, the junior, and then you've got Piper Harlan's younger sister, Joplin, who is just a multi-talented athlete. But she is now – there's a lot of things that we don't know about this team. They got beat 2 sets to nothing to begin with. They weren't blowouts, but they were not looking always together. Then all of a sudden, facing elimination, they come back with a massive 3rd set win. That's good, but you got to win 2 more to win and make the comeback. They dominated the middle point to the second part to the end of the 4th set. They had a 5-1 lead in the 5th set. And then St. Mary's came back and just rallied, got themselves up. I think it was 9-6. Rome County came back to take the lead, and then it was taken back right at the end, and it was a 14-13 lead for St. Mary's, and they got that final point. But I tell you what, I said this to Coach Shandy White in our post-game interview. I said, you just learned a whole lot about your team in the first match of the season, and that's exciting.
that is exciting, and she got a lot out of them. They play hard for her, so interesting to see how this year does. But look at the future of that too. It's going to be something pretty special, probably.
Again, Shandy does a great job with her athletes. So she's going to be involved with the middle school program to really work. She does camps for basketball. I'm sure she's going to be doing the same thing for volleyball for the youth girls around here. So, yeah, just big things to come. She really puts a lot of work into the off season, and that's what it takes.
That's right. Yep, and she's willing and excited to do that.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have her in there doing that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, John Penn, have we crossed off all of the fall sports yet?
Well,
what are we missing? What have I
on the
missed?
high school side, except for football, we've got middle school football.
Got cheerleaders.
We've got cheerleaders. They're getting ready. Well, they'll be going Friday night. There's 8 cheerleaders this year.
Yep.
Is there a JV team or is it just the varsity
Just the
team?
varsity team.
Okay.
So just the varsity cheerleader. But I tell you what, I mentioned this. I believe I was talking to a random community member yesterday who was a part of a club who said, we are focused on giving to the band and the cheerleading team. I said, that is interesting because not intentionally or anything like that, it gets overlooked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about the sports that are measured in wins and losses and things like that, you often forget that the band is a huge part of Friday night football and beyond. The cheerleaders are a huge part of not just football season, but a lot of other seasons, basketball season as well.
Sure, and they do have this is their competition season. They have a conference cheer competition, and then they have their regional cheer competition, which doesn't happen until November.
Yeah.
And then, of course, hopefully they'll have 3 because they'll make the state tournament if they can win the top 2 in the region. So they do have a season, and they, like you said, they're a big part of Friday nights. A big part of basketball season. You see them out there, and I'll tell you, they're out there in the heat, working just as hard and trying to get better at their skill and honing it as anybody else is. So
Yeah. That's good stuff. We also have some middle school sports that are going on, and again, when these sports get really into it, John, the first episode for us always really not a lot happening just yet, but starting next week and the weeks following, we're going to have some information for the general public when it comes to middle school sports. Midget League football is in full swing. I know that there's a couple of games that have already taken place. We'll talk about that as we go through the year, but there's some other things we want to focus on here tonight. One of the things I want to focus on here tonight, since we have an athletic director here in Toby Ford, who is obviously not new to this world of AD and sports, but when we come back here in just a second, I want to ask Toby Ford about the new classification system in West Virginia. We'll do that here in just a second, folks. We are live from Route 33 Steakhouse, first ever episode here at Route 33 Steakhouse, and we're excited to be here. Thanks very much to them. We're going to take a break for DW Excavating. We'll be back with more Raider Review after this.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
Well, we are in episode number 1, and I was just talking with John Penna. It has been a crazy couple of weeks, actually a crazy month and a half for me at the station. We've been working on trying to get all of the Calhoun County sports worked on and finished up and getting Roane County sports ready to go for the fall season. I had a lot of stuff ready for tonight. One thing I did not prepare for tonight was the audio I was going to need, including
Thank you.
our high school football promo, which I normally run during this show at the commercial breaks. I also didn't have the intro music to the show or the outro music to the show. Some other things I need to get. We were just talking about our get up behind us. We're going to have some stuff back here behind us at some point.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just a white wall. So we're going to work on that. There's a lot of things we're going to work on.
We have plenty of memorabilia floating around, I'm sure of that, so we can decorate. Very nice.
We are excited to be here, though, at Route 33 Steakhouse. This is our new home, our home away from the studios at WVRC, and this is going to be a fun time for us each Wednesday night when we could come here, get some really good food. We hope that everybody else decides, listen, we are not going to put you all on camera. I know some people have a real aversion to seeing a microphone and a camera. We're not going to put the general public on there unless you want to ask a question. If you have questions, come here and ask us those questions. We will put you on the air at that point. We're going to have a fan cam. We do have a fan cam here, by the way. It's up behind the bar, and that's going to be shown during the halftime of Roane County High School football games that will be shown here from Route 33 Steakhouse. On top of that, we're going to have some T-shirt giveaways, by the way, throughout this year with Route 33 Steakhouse T-shirts. I tell you what, Jorge and his staff, they have been so welcoming to us. Not a lot of people would just say, yeah, come on in.
Right.
And do an entire show from our location.
There was zero hesitation.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, absolutely. So hopefully we're going to be here every Wednesday night. Hopefully we'll fill this place up on Wednesday nights with parents of players. And, heck, at that point, players are going to be out of practice. Maybe they'll come in here and grab them something to eat. You know, we used to do that back in the day when we'd finish up with practice, meet up somewhere. Basically, it was just Wendy's because that's all we had.
That's what you had. That's right.
It's split time between Wendy's, McDonald's, and Dairy Queen.
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Well, back then, Queen Bee was available for us dregs of society, whatever.
Man.
Well, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Our buddy Swolby, who is playing some WoW right now, which is why he's not here. He did stop playing video games long enough to say that, Toby, you're looking handsome today, buddy.
Oh.
Even if you're not feeling 100%, you're looking 100%.
It's better to look good than feel good.
That's right.
Our athletic director, Toby Ford, is here. And, Toby, let's dig into it. I don't know what you know. I don't know what your opinions are about it. A new 4-class system in football. And let's just say the rollout has been less than stellar.
Listen, it was stellar until, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, well, until 2 weeks ago when they finally changed everything.
Right,
But
right.
when it first rolled out, it was a lot of schools. It was not stellar, and they took it to court right away, challenged it, and it finally came out 2 weeks ago what the decision was going to be. So unfortunately, that happened at bad timing, if you can say, especially in our conference, because a lot of schools that were single A went to double A, and now three I think are back to single A.
Yeah.
And a fourth one was just in court Monday to try to go back to single A. And so in the meantime, you've had to rush around to make these schedules because you're back in double A. And all right, we got all these double A opponents with the travel so far. Nope, sorry, we're single A again. So they don't want to play double A's. They want to play their single A schools, which is understandable completely. And so they're canceling on you, and they're trying to find single A schools, which have already made schedules for themselves, and it's just a mess. In my opinion, they've opened up a, a big window that's gonna crash. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's already happened with the first. What they have seven, maybe seven schools. Then all of a sudden it was seven more or something like
Yes.
that. 3 days later or something,
Mhm.
because they're like, hey, you let them down, and then they went to court, and now they're down. So I don't know. They're down to 16 teams in Quad A now.
Everybody's
In the playoffs. I told Coach Peary to appeal and play Quad A
Yeah.
at Ravenswood this year. You'll make
Yeah.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he said it might not be a bad idea. But anyway, yeah, I think they just made a mess of it, in my opinion. I don't know. They may get it all ironed out, and it may look like the best thing they've ever done.
So I heard it was only for this season. Is that correct? Like next year they're going to have to kind of go back over it again, and maybe some teams will move around once again. or
I've heard a
what?
lot of things, and I also heard that, of course, they just moved them down in football. So we're still, all the other sports that went to Quad A along with football. There's volleyball and baseball and all that stuff. They're still Quad A. So the only thing they dropped down in was football.
Huh.
Right.
So I don't know what the point of that. I mean, if they're saying you're dropping down because you meet the criteria of these things, doesn't every sport meet the criteria of those things?
You would think that that's the case, but that would be a rational decision being made. I tell you, this came out of a couple of years ago when they tested it out in a sport in basketball. It seemed to work okay in basketball. I've been down to the state basketball tournaments. I've been broadcasting those for years now, and it seemed to work okay. I don't mean it was perfect, obviously, but it split up a little bit of the competition levels, and you had a few more decent games, but you still had your blowouts in the early rounds of those things. Football just seemed to be a different beast, and especially with the fact that Class AAA already was struggling with numbers. They were always the smallest class of all, and so they did this, and I'm sure they put forth effort and thinking, and they talked about it, but man, did this backfire at the last second in a poor way. 16 teams in Quad A. You don't have to win a game. You're already in the playoffs. And then you're talking about the schedule nightmare that is. Did it affect Roane County, Toby, at all?
In the future.
The other school that took it to court on Tuesday was Doddridge, and we had them on the schedule for next year already in football. So, of course, we've played them in the past with them being single A. So I don't know the outcome of that, and I haven't heard, and I don't know if it affected or not. But it's possible it could. Other than that, no, it has not.
TBD on that game. We'll see. In other sports, has it affected you guys at all so far?
No, but the realignment has. It's interesting. Our cross country is in Region 2,
Oh man, yeah.
and our regular track team is in Region 4. And which is Region 4 has like Sissonville, and I said they're AAA now, like Buffalo. They even have Ripley in it. Teams like that in our area, in our region. And then they have us in Region 2, which they kept us up north with
Is that
North
Hampshire?
Mary, all of them. But our cross country track meet is at Hampshire County High School, which is a little over 4 hours away.
Good
And
region.
yeah, so we're driving 8 hours to run for 25 minutes or whatever it is. And so I asked them Tuesday, not Tuesday, but when I went to the AD meeting this summer, hey, you have us in the track region, completely different than our cross country region, and they're like, well, we put a lot of time and effort into that, and we're not changing anything this year for sure. So
Take them to court.
Take them to court.
Let's
There
go,
you
Tove. Take him to court. It's a sue happy society right now. Let's do that. Want to say hi to a couple of our sponsors who I hope I'm not giving away their secret here, but the Brandons are here from Brandon Dental. Thank you guys for being a sports sponsor for Roane County Sports each and every season. And I hope I didn't give away the fact that they weren't trying to tell people they were here at Route 33 Steakhouse.
Yeah, they're just out here trying to get dinner, not get bothered.
So the chaos has ensued with this 4-class system. It affects Roane County, I would say, and it doesn't affect us immediately, and it doesn't really do anything to us, honestly, except when we think about this football season for Roane County and the way it was set up, getting a couple of those traditional powerhouses up out of our conference or up out of our division and up to AAA. Now you see Independence, who's
Yes.
been kind of a thorn in our side since we've been really good the last few years. Frankfort is back down in Class AA. That's a team that has been in the playoffs most recently for a few years in a row, and they've had some success as well. You get Lincoln back down. That's an old team that we had played who'd been on some hard times, but they're never completely out. So there's some teams now that are back in our division. That's, if you look down the line, they're not on our schedule right now, but they may be a team that if Roane County does what we want them to do, we see in the playoffs versus we wouldn't have seen them.
Right.
Again, that's all just there's not analytical data to that. It's just something to think about, I think.
I mean, I think those teams we're still going to be very competitive with. The Bridgeports and the Fairmonts senior, those are the teams that when they're AA, you kind of like, oh man, those guys are able just to pull from such a bigger area. I think so. Independence, I follow them quite a bit, through Facebook and things like that. They just have a program. They're just building their program. They work hard the way that we do here.
We've been there.
Yeah.
It just seems like a
Yeah.
AA
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, so I think we compete with those guys that are still kind of around. Frankfort comes back down. We still compete with those guys. But the whole craziness with how things have went down and only 16 teams in Quad A, that's rough.
Somebody made a post on social media immediately. They put up a banner that already said, "Congratulations, so-and-so."
Yes.
It's a team that traditionally has not been very good. Congratulations, you are playoff bound.
Yeah.
Playoff bound. There you
Before
go.
the season even
It'd be
began.
cool to start like the playoff bracket with where you think it's going to be, and then kind of just shuffle through week to week. That'd be pretty fun. I may do that on my wall in the man cave.
It should be very interesting. Well, I just wanted to pick Toby's brain about that as an athletic director, what you've heard from other athletic directors, if you've spoken to them, and how chaotic it has been versus maybe it hasn't been chaotic, but it certainly has affected a lot of schools. In the state of West
And
Virginia.
I don't think it just looks bad the way it's played out. It probably isn't as big of a deal moving teams to where they feel they should be, actually, but how they did it and the
Yeah.
timing of it is what's so bad about it, I think.
Because, folks that are not paying any attention to this, they've just heard, okay, there's going to be 4 classes, and they just kind of forget about it. And then all of a sudden, hey, they're moving people
Right.
around, and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
going on?
It's been a big talk in the barbershop for sure.
It's been pretty chaotic. I tell you what, it'll be to be seen, I guess,
Yeah.
this year to see how in the other classes at least it's all played out. Obviously, Quad A is, very interesting for Quad A. When we come back, folks, here from Route 33 Steakhouse, episode number 1, first ever episode from Route 33 Steakhouse. We're going to dive into Roane County High School football in just a bit. Got a big one coming up Friday. We're going to talk about that. We're going to preview the first couple of scrimmages that we had and talk about our personal expectations. Has nothing to do with Coach Burdett and his team, though. We'll be back in just a second.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
We welcome you back to Route 33 Steakhouse, episode number 1, year number, Penna, you got it?
11D.
Year number 11 of the Raider Review. This is something that started as quite the pipe dream. Got to give a little credit to our buddy Adam Anderson, who originally had a thought to do a coach's show. We took it and flew with it, and here we are in year whatever. We don't even know at this point.
Adam's doing big things, though, anyways. He's like
He is.
throwing fairs now.
Yeah, he is throwing fairs and festivals up in Monongalia
Yeah.
County in Morgantown, so he's doing
Yep.
big things up there.
He's going to run off with the carny.
Pretty sure he's married with 2 kids right now. I don't think he's going to do that at the who knows. I do want to thank DW Excavating, Doug Walker, and his crew. Again, the exclusive sponsor for the Raider Review. Happened to talk with Doug at the first scrimmage we'll be talking about in just a second. And he was talking about all the things he's doing. You know, we follow him on his social media account. He's really good to post like every couple of weeks because he's too busy working for that time, and then he'll post before and afters of the work that he's doing. One thing very interesting that he has been working on for a few weeks now, if we go back to the middle school level of things, he's been working on the land behind the football field at Walton Elementary Middle School. I did not know what was happening up there as a teacher for many, many years. You're used to driving down and seeing a couple of houses on the way down. Well, that land was bought up by Ox Energy, and they raised the homes there, and they have now really done a good job of leveling out the top of that area, and Doug has been working his rear off to try to grade off everything behind the stadium bleachers on the home side all the way down to, I guess if you're familiar with the road there, there's a big bridge off in the distance. He is trying to level and grade all that out, and he has done a great job. If you happen to see it, if you don't know what it is, get on DW Excavating site and take a look at the before and after of what they've done to Walton Elementary Middle School.
Yeah, Doug is just phenomenal with what he's done. You know, just a quick little story with Doug. He was helping coach with us back in the youth days, and Doug had a little bit of an issue with his shoulder or something, and I don't know, we were at a practice one day, and he was just kind of talking about possibly thinking about doing his own business, and me, you know, kind of having my own business. I'm like, go for it. I think I told you the same thing.
Yeah, you did.
And you know, here we are. You know, I was talking to Marshall Woods about this a couple weeks ago, man, and Doug has done a great job of you know, really building his brand and building his business. But his work speaks for itself. I mean, he is just so good with what he does, and we appreciate Doug, and he's always here to help us out whenever we need help too.
Yeah, I tell you, Doug, great guy, great business owner, hardworking guy, and one of the best midget league parents you'll ever have in your life.
Such a good one, man.
If you know, you know.
Absolutely.
But we've had great luck. We had great luck with midget league parents.
Yeah.
So here we go, folks. We are just a couple of days away from opening the 2024 Roane County High School football season, and we get to do it at County Stadium. That's exciting to do it at home. It's going to be a brutally hot night. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Toby Ford has some information. A lot of schools around the state obviously are moving practices back this week later in the evening to try to avoid some of the worst of the heat. Some teams and some programs, Toby, have already moved their start times back a little from the traditional 7:30. Some schools who have been moving up to that 7 o'clock start, they've moved them back already to 7:30. We've heard rumors some schools are going to bump those back even to 8 o'clock.
We got an email from the SSAC saying if you feel like you can do that, feel free to bump your games back, like you said, from the 7 to 7:30, or even 7:30 to 8, or 7 to 8, whatever. We talked about it. Our field is pretty much in the shade at 7:30.
Yeah.
The players aren't going to get much more relief than they already got from 7:30 to 8. The wet bulb thermometer will tell the story, though. It'll say go or don't go.
Okay.
We put that out. So 7:30 is still our time to start. If the thermometer reading tells us otherwise, then we will not start at 7:30.
Okay. So it's a game time decision possibly there. And again, it's about the safety of kids when it comes to the heat and humidity and all the gear that these players are wearing. And it's just something it's very scary that you don't want to have a situation like that happen. So that's all well and good. So we are, at the moment, John, we are scheduled for a 7:30 kick.
Yeah, so all the athletes that are going to be playing, band, cheerleaders, football players, hydrate now. You've got to be hydrating now. You should have been hydrating the whole week. So yeah, you want to make sure you do that. Cramps are always an issue first game of the season. Even when you think that you've prepared yourself, you really have not. I know Coach Rick loves pickle juice. You know, use some of that Pedialyte. That's a big thing at our house. That's what I've had Taven, hammer and water, some Pedialyte, things like that. But yeah, prepare yourself for the heat because it's going to be hot. Thinking of one of the hottest games that we were involved in was Tyler Consolidated. It had been Dylan Cottrell and Nathan Reynolds senior year. It was brutally hot, and but our press box, we're going to bring a fan and we'll be good to go.
Should be good to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I remember about that Tyler Consolidated game was we found a roll of paper towels
Yes.
that we stole during the game to
Yeah.
try to wipe ourselves off. And the other thing I remember from that was the first time I ever heard of what a Canadian tuxedo was.
Yeah, Adam
and our
was decked
buddy
out.
Adam Anderson, who was the play-by-play at the time,
Denim
was
on denim.
wearing denim on denim in 110-degree heat.
Oh,
That was terrible.
he was soaking wet. I remember looking out the field and being like, "Wow, this guy is down there doing the coach's interview." Poor guy.
That year, he also wore a salmon shirt early in the season that you could see it was basically dark orange by the time he was done sweating in it.
Yes.
So let's talk about Roane County High School football. Let's get the cat out of the bag right away. Obviously, John, obviously, Toby, we've seen this program. We've been around this program. We know what happened last year. We know who's coming back. Expectations on our side of things obviously are very high.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, obviously what you see in the past couple of years, and actually more than that, we expect big things at Roane County. And with this group of seniors, which you guys had coaching, they've been successful all the way through.
Yeah.
So you see them get to be a senior and what they've turned into and how successful they've been so far in high school.
Yeah.
Then yes, everybody, us, the community, everyone has high expectations for this group, and we'll see what happens. They're definitely going to go out and give it their all, no matter what our expectations are. They believe that they need to win also. They have high expectations on themselves. So.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't take the losing thing lightly. They never have taken it lightly. So it'll be interesting. A lot of the same actually all the same teams except for Oak Glen. We dropped Oak Glen, picked up Logan. Logan struggled last year. I've kind of looked at their roster already. I've been looking at this thing. We've been looking at the rosters and schedules and who's lost and since spring or winter of last year. So yeah, they're built for it this year. They have all the tools. You lost 4 seniors last year that were pretty good seniors, but you get some guys in there. Shea Harper's going to be coming back off of his injury that we lost him for the entire season. He made it to the first play of the second quarter against Shady last year, but expectations are there, but they got to go out and perform, and they got to prepare themselves. And the coaching staff up at the high school always does a great job to get them ready.
Yeah.
Coaching staff, obviously, with a bit of an overhaul this
Yeah.
coming year, a couple out. Still a lot of youth on that coaching staff. Obviously, you lose a big cog in the wheel with Coach Matt Peary, who no one can blame this guy. He had an opportunity to become a head coach after just a few years as an assistant for Coach Burdette. He was a defensive coordinator last year, really got his chops here at Roane County High School, and Ravenswood makes the call, hey, you want to come home and run this program? He did, and so we wish Coach Peary the best of luck. I hope if we ever play Ravenswood, we beat him by 100, but do wish him the best of luck. So there are some new coaches and new positions there. Still got a lot of those guys, though, back, and, of course, the expectations are high from the kids themselves.
Mhm.
If you ask any of the guys who are on this team, they've got their own expectations, and they are very high. Now, I was able to go see scrimmage number 1.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you all, if you've been there for the last 15 years like I have, actually longer than that, but you go to the first scrimmage for Roane County, and they never seem to quite be awake for those first scrimmages. They always it's because they're all controlled scrimmages. The
Right.
first ones are all controlled scrimmages, and those are not the ones that the Raider boys excel at. They seem to be kind of asleep at the wheel. Plus, they go pretty vanilla on offense, things like that. So they did what they needed to do. They got on the field. They got some contact, some hits here and there, and did a few little things. They didn't go crazy with their stuff. And they were able to, when they did open it up a little bit, they got a couple big plays. They did get a big score late with Lane Watson on a pitch to the outside. They were tested by what people are saying. I just looked at CNC. I looked at Coalfield and conferences. They have Josh Moody, who's the Nitro quarterback, listed as a dark horse candidate for a possible run at the Kennedy Award. So we knew Josh Moody when he was a freshman and a part-time starter for Buffalo.
Yeah.
He's now at Nitro as a senior, and he is obviously the real deal. He threw a couple of really nice deep passes that they scored on Roane County's defense on. But again, people ask me about that, John, and I said it's the first scrimmage. It's controlled. Let's see what happens the next week.
Right.
And you and I both saw that.
Yeah, we were both there to witness Buchanan buck up. You know, Roane County was just physical. You know, Clay Walker set the tone of that whole thing. I got chills right now.
Yeah.
Clay Walker set the tone of the whole thing. The O-line did a pretty good job of opening holes. Lane Watson had an unbelievable long touchdown run early in the game. We were just physical, man. We were just out there pushing guys around, and that's what I like to see out of this team because they like to be dogs like that. But the most impressive thing for me was the passing game.
Yeah.
We really came out and threw the ball around really well. Talking with Shadrach Greathouse, he's helping out with the high school right now, and Shad's a quarterback, likes to throw the football around, you know. So that was impressive to me. Coben looked really good receiving. Yeah, I talked to Lane on Sunday. He was at the house, so he said he was really impressed with Coben as well. But being physical, I really like what we did. Offensive line looked good. Missing Noah Jett. Noah Jett's cleared to go. He's going to be playing this week. Hopefully everything goes well with him. But impressive, though. Impressive. We went out and did what I thought we were going to do. Coach opened up the playbook a little bit more. You want to do that, given your next opponent something else to look at besides just your basic stuff. So I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked what we did.
I'll ask Toby's takeaways here in a second. My takeaways from that, number one, 2 incredible catches by Coben Cottrell, showing his size and athleticism. One of them was called out of bounds, but it was still a tremendous catch nonetheless. I thought that Jacob Greathouse in the passing game made incredibly smart decisions.
Yes.
And that's something, again, that they're looking for him as a third-year starter now.
Yeah.
He's just a junior. He made some checkoffs. He waited. He was patient. He took it. He tucked and run when he needed to. So I thought he was really good as well. Of course, Lane is Lane. And, of course, the physicality of Clay Walker in the running game and with his 8 tackles defensively was huge. I was very impressed with the offensive line coming off that first scrimmage where they didn't quite look meshed. And, again, you're missing a 4-year starter who is going to be back for the first game in Noah Jett. I thought that what I was wondering is, would Buchanan Upshur try to throw the ball to test our very, I would say, thin as far as numbers secondary? Obviously, without Chad Blosser with us, he's a starter last year. And, of course, you lose Brandon Richardson last year in the defensive backfield. You lose Sawyer Hunt back there. Shea Harper wasn't there for the year last year.
So you gain him.
Yeah, you're looking for what's going to happen with that secondary. And I thought they held their own against what I found to be an absolute mammoth of an athlete playing quarterback for Buchanan Upshur. I don't know who that kid is, but he was fantastic as an athlete. And I think not only did Roane County defensively hold their own in the secondary, maybe the play of the night in Brody Proctor, the deep pass where he was hand-fighting, turned at the right time, intercepted the ball, and took it back about 30 or 40 yards. I thought that may have been the play of the night for me.
Yeah, Sam Lawson said he was down there around the track at that time whenever the ball was up in the air, and he said Brody looked back. So might have got a little bit of help from Sam, but great play, and then also a nice job of getting down the field and picking up some nice 50 yards, I believe, or something
a lot,
on the return. So yeah, it was nice.
Well,
and good for Brody being a second-year starter now. He was a freshman last year, had to learn, in the fire. Now this year he's a little bit more seasoned.
Well, Toby, you have been a coach, and you've been on the sidelines to be able to analyze things. You have a very interesting perch now where you're for these scrimmages in the end zone, back behind the end zone. Let's get your take on good, bad, all the stuff that happened for Roane County on Friday night.
You look at our backs. They're going to be our back. They did what they're going to do. Shea,
they are who we thought they are.
They are who we thought they were. That's right. Shea, I thought maybe it started off kind of slow, but he picked things up as the scrimmage went on. looking stronger and stronger, and I think he's going to be fine coming back from his injury. Uh, Lane's Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of that this year. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see. I don't know. The line, I was most impressed with the line, I think, and I was a line coach, so I like to watch them. They shoved the guys around. They did a good job. And I was more impressed with our defense, like you said, that Buchanan quarterback, a heck of an athlete. We saw that because he was constantly under pressure,
Yes.
running for his life.
Yeah.
But he's made good plays.
He
when
extended
did
these
that.
plays.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we caused that to be an issue, and I was impressed by our defense to put the pressure on him and make him do that. And of course, with them just holding up, and we just completely shut them down.
Yeah.
50-7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed with the performance of
Yeah.
everyone. They did
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, even the JV guys, when they came out and played, Javon Laterno, 96-yard touchdown run. It was just a kind of a sweep, almost. I guess it would have been a jet, but guys were downfield blocking for him. Made an unbelievable run on the closest sideline to the press box. Cut it back. It was beautiful. Javon's got a lot of things that he's going to be able to do in the future. So
You know, I talked with Rick Cottrell, one of the coaches, on Saturday at that pickleball tournament, and, you know, we talk football. That's just what we do.
Yeah.
And he said, "Did you see Javon Laterno?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That kid
yeah,
may have just worked himself into the brains
Yeah.
of the varsity coaches."
absolutely.
He said, "No doubt,
Yeah.
he did." So
Yeah,
maybe,
I've been hearing a little bit of that through the whole offseason. I mean, Javon's just a football guy.
yeah.
I mean, he's had that IQ since he was, you know, a C-team kid. Ask Dylan Webb and Randy Lawson about him. They used him quite a bit when they were coaching him on C&B.
Well, the coaching staff would always look for more depth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find one of those diamonds in the rough, you know, youth, freshmen, you're not really sure what they're going to do or how they're going to react in big game situations. That may be one on
Yeah.
the list now that you can say, okay, maybe we can plug this kid in,
Yeah.
you know, in game situations at that level.
You still have Brabham. Brabham has serious speed. We watched him run track this spring, and, man, he's got serious speed. Had a nice jet sweep on the far sideline, picked up about 14, 15 yards. So he's not as – I mean, he's a shorter guy, but super strong. I mean, he's an athlete.
I will say that Brabham impressed me more than anything. We know he's fast, but more
Mhm.
than anything, he took a couple up the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed some physicality that I didn't see last year. Maybe there was just we're not quite there yet. But
Right.
he had built his body this
Yeah,
year in the
he's-
offseason where
He's
he
worked hard.
he
He's a
applied
tank.
some punishment off tackle,
Yeah.
and that's big to have. So that'll be a good another cog in the offensive wheel for Roane County. So our opponent this Friday night, John, Shady Spring. Let's go back to last year. They lost a couple of big weapons. They lost their quarterback, who was a big guy. Green, I believe was his last name.
Yep.
They lose their number one receiver, who went off sides 15 times, by the way. We just watched the
We just
tape
watched the film.
from last year. I said it on the air multiple times. I was incredulous at the end. I was like, how can they not see this? But they did lose some very talented athletes, but they've got a couple of guys coming back. The quarterback, who's the coach's son,
Mhm.
who's a real tall kid, 6'4", 6'5", looked at he could throw the ball around. It's to be, again, imperative, as it is every game, for Roane County's defense to get pressure.
Yeah, so I watched the Clay County Shady Springs scrimmage, and I was pretty impressed with Shady. You know, they were physical. Looking at last year's video that we went back and watched, they were 6-4 last year. Lost to Roane County, Independence, Greenbrier, West, and Man.
Yeah.
Those are teams you're going to lose to. They do return a lot. The quarterback's going to be a junior. He's the coach's son, 6'4". The receivers look pretty good as well in this later scrimmage from this past time. Defensive linebackers look solid. They were physical. I was really impressed with the running backs, though. They kind of put you in an ace or a deuce look, spread you out, and then they'll hand off to you. There's two really good looking running backs. The sizes, they look bigger on film, but I'm seeing one guy is 5'7", 135. He's a junior. And then I see the other guy is 5'10", 165. He's also a junior. Both of those guys were very impressive. They ran the ball very hard against Clay County. So I think this team's going to be pretty good. Last year, if you go back and look and watch the game from last season, we played Shady. Slow start for us. Now Shea had the opening kickoff that took it back, but Shady was in the red zone very deep, about between the 2 and the 4 yard line a couple times. Our defense stood up, kept them out of there. I think the play calling on Shady's part wasn't great, which was great for us.
Yes.
And then they had a couple miscues. I think the quarterback slipped a couple times, but we were up to a 20-7 lead, 28-7 lead, and then once we got to 35, we brought we brought our JV squad in. So I think this is a pretty good looking team that we're going to face. They're big, they're physical, but I think that our kids, talking with Lane last week, he said we hear him talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said we hear him talking on some things, like we were just a couple plays away from beating Roane County last year. So I think our guys are going to be very prepared to start the season out with a good opponent, AAA opponent now. So that's going to be some big points for us if we come out with W.
Well, obviously, they've got a veteran head coach. Even though we questioned it first game last year, they had a big bulldog running back in Davis that they did not feed as much as we would have, obviously. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, maybe our defense would have handled him. I don't know. Obviously, game one, Toby, as a former coach, game one, all bets are off because there's going to be some stuff that goes wrong.
Yeah, you hope it's not, but and the thing is, it seems to always be the simplest thing that goes wrong. An offsides here, or a holding, or something that, or they get the wrong formation, or something like it. It's something that it just drives you nuts.
Somebody's not in on special teams.
Yes,
that's the worst.
Yes, yeah. So you gotta get all those bugs out. But then again, it's also the first game for Shady, so they're going to be dealing with the same stuff. But you just hope that you don't make as many mistakes as they do, bonehead mistakes. But I think our coaching staff will have them ready, have our guys ready to go. And like you said, the chirping started Monday or maybe Saturday after the Friday night game against Shady last year.
I did not know that.
Yes, yeah. So the players are ready too.
Oh yeah, Lane was at the house Sunday, and that was one of the first things he talked about. So leadership there, Lane, Shea, Clay Walker, those guys are leaders, and they are not going to they're not going to let the team kind of get out of sorts. They're really going to keep them focused in, I believe.
Well, let's hope that everything goes well for the next 48 hours. Of course, late practices, obviously, folks, for the next couple of nights for Roane County, trying to avoid the worst of the heat and humidity. We're in the midst of a state of emergency and a drought situation. Let's hope that we get some rain at some point to help this whole thing out. And let's hope that everybody, not just the Roane County and Shady Spring game, but around the state, can stay healthy after this first week. It's going to be brutally hot across the state. And we do hope that everyone stays healthy on this Friday night football first edition of the year. We're looking forward to a great matchup. We hope that people decide to make the trip to County Stadium this Friday night. I tell you what, we know what excitement we have, and I know that there's a lot of excitement amongst the community. Well, let's show it. Let's prove that. Get out there and enjoy and support this group who is ready to make some things happen. Let's hope they do.
Speaking of coming out to County Stadium on Friday night.
Yes, we have a completely new traffic system.
Well, actually, we're going to keep it the same as it has been. The middle school's done. We have a few parking spots back that we didn't have before. Well, we had, but then we lost. Now a couple are back. But anyway, we're still going to run shuttles because we've anticipated overflow parking still being down at the softball field. We're not letting people up the back hill because we're running shuttles. We want to keep traffic flowing in one direction. So when you come up to the school, there is a new road that goes straight by the new middle school to take you up to the stadium. That's going to be blocked off. We want people to continue to go in front of the school and around behind by the greenhouse and back behind the school. So if you have a handicap pass or one of the parking passes now, they're back.
Okay.
That Coach Burdett has been handing out or doing for rewards for paying your practice packs, whatnot. If you have those, you need to come around in front of the school and go around behind and go up and park. Handicap parking only is behind the stadium actual bleachers. That is all handicap parking.
Yes.
If you don't have a handicap pass, don't park there.
Okay? Or else.
That's right. And then keep going around in the scoreboard. They took all the millings that we had when they paved the parking lots in the road, and we spread them out up there. So it's a big gravel parking lot area now. Mm-hmm. So you can go up there and park up there. Again, you can buy a ticket over the hill and walk up the hill if you want. You can do that, or buy a ticket and wait for the shuttle to bring you around. or park in front of the school. You're more than welcome to walk down the access road next to the middle school. There will be a ticket person right at the front of the middle school to take your money there, or go around behind. And if you park in that parking lot over there, there's somebody over there to take your ticket
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
So same traffic flow as always, shuttles as always, and let's show up in droves and
Oh.
support these guys.
Scheduled for a 7:30 kickoff, depending on what you call it,
The wet bulb thermometer.
the
Yeah,
wet
there's a-
bulb thermometer.
Yeah,
I don't know
there's
what
a thermometer thing they come out with a few years back.
Yeah, it takes the humidity, it takes the temperature, it takes the wind. It all calculates and spits you out a number, and then it tells you on that number what,
Yes or no?
what you're allowed to do. Well, maybe we'll play two-hand touch and no pads because that's part of the protocol.
Could be.
It would be the start of Sarcastable, right? Anyways, again, Saturday or Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Folks, please come out and enjoy and support this team in their first game of the season. Roane County versus Shady Spring, second meeting between these two teams in 2 straight years. We hope for a great game. We hope for a great crowd. And we hope for everyone to be safe and healthy at the end of it. I tell you what, looking forward to 2024 in Roane County High School football. Man, I just, it's here.
Hard to believe.
It's hard to believe that it is
Oh,
here.
can I give the Coach Burdett weather statement?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I was. So I was
Hot.
getting ready to give John
Hot.
the final word, but before that, Toby Ford has to take off his AD hat and put on the meteorologist hat.
Hot.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's pretty hot.
Pretty
Yeah.
hot and humid. Hot and humid. John Penny, you get the last words.
Look, come out and support these guys. 2024. Been looking forward to this since last season. We had a bad taste in our mouth after that playoff game. Let's get back on track and come out and support these Raiders. A great, great group of young men.
Again, Friday Night Football. If you cannot make it, join us on WVRC as always at 7:00 p.m. We'll be on the air and we'll be on streaming, Facebook and YouTube with pregame coverage at about 7:05. I see John's
Calhoun.
He's
Also Calhoun.
yeah, Calhoun County. They have WVRC Calhoun County Sports on Facebook. They also have a YouTube channel that is WVRC Calhoun County. They will have their first game of the season, a rivalry matchup, military appreciation night. They're going to be wearing the camo jerseys over there at Calhoun County High School Sports Complex. 7:30 p.m. for the first time in over a decade. Calhoun County Sports is back on WVRC. That'll do it for us here tonight. Thanks again to the staff here at Route 33 Steakhouse, our home away from home for 2024 for the Raider Review. For Toby Ford and John Penn, I'm Andrew Miller. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!